Hello, and welcome to the Introduction to SalesManager Part 6. Pricing for a document conversion project continued. This section covers logistics, supplies, and warehouse services. My name is Kevin Williams. I am the owner of Sriya Technologies, and I will be your host for today. SalesManager is designed to be a complete cost model, pricing model, and project estimating tool for service bureaus and records management businesses. First off, Sriya is an acronym for Scan, Store, Retrieve, Index, Integrate, and Archive, the 6 base elements of the records management industry. Sriya Technologies is a consulting firm catering to the document and records management industries and service bureaus. The primary goal and purpose of SalesManager is to facilitate a business to ensure that all cost drivers are accounted for during the pricing phase for a project, for both software implementation and document conversion. A cost driver is defined as any product, service, action, activity, or effort that has some cost to your firm attached to it that is required to process and deliver a project to your client. And I would follow that statement up with saying, any cost driver missed during the cost creation phase is a cost not recouped by your firm during the pricing phase. SalesManager is a tool to help provide standardization and repeatability for your sales execution. This in turn provides for a stable foundation and process for training and evaluating your sales staff without having to do everything yourself. Incorporating SalesManager into your sales process can provide new salespeople with intelligent guidance, step-by-step sales processes, and complete lists of company products and services. This enables newly hired sales reps to be productive in weeks versus months. In videos 1 through 5, we began with pricing exercises for a backfile project and for a system implementation project. Also, you see item number 5, which is an add-on example item for a paper scanning element to demonstrate variables in services selection. We have also reviewed storage services in Section 5. Now let's go to Section 6, Special Services. Section 6 includes Microfilm Services, Supplies, Other Services, and Special Development. Let's first look at Section 6A. We see Microfilm Creation Services and Microfilm Duplication Services. For businesses that offer microfilm creation services or archival services, SalesManager can be configured to accommodate your archival environment. So for microfilm services, you see a designation for the BF prefix for backfile projects and the DF prefix for day forward projects. A backfile project will be a one-off, single event type project. A day forward project will be considered recurring and will be calculated against a number of years for contract duration. You will select services as either item duration or project duration. For a brief view of how this works, in the pricing area, there is an option to select the number of years for a recurring type project. So let's navigate over to Admin and Pricing and our pricing dashboard. By default, SalesManager allows for selecting up to a 5-year duration. As we can see, I will put this back at 1 year and no projected annual increase for a moment. All services selected for all conversion project items will be calculated against the requested project duration. So we see that we have the project cost of goods and the project revenues based on your markup margin or per item price. So as we add from a single year, which would be considered a single year one-off project, to a recurring or multi-year project, as you select the duration selection, you will simply take that initial base project and the items that are recurring, and that will be displayed as your recurring factors. Again, as you see, these numbers vary slightly. There will be some first-year costs that we can point out that are not part of the recurring nature of the project. Also, if there is a projected annual increase in number of images to be processed and etc., we can account for this as well. And you see that your projected annual increase then is calculated against your COG, your cost of goods, and then your requested markup margin or per item fee then is reflected in your revenues appropriately. So we'll go back to Microfilm Services here. So for this example, I will use the item duration, and I will choose the 16mm backfile project. For the film size, I will select 16mm. You see the number of images or frames per roll is displayed. Had I selected the 35mm, the appropriate number for this option would be displayed. And for the source, I will select the ADF scan type 1, which, as we showed earlier, was our item number 5 and our variable for paper scanning. Based on the number of images per roll and the total number of images from the source item, you get the total number of new rolls created. If you offer film duplication services, then go to the film duplication area. We have options for existing rolls for duplication or new rolls for duplication. For this example, let's choose existing rolls first. For the service type, I will select the 16mm master negative silver. For the film size, again, this will be 16mm. And for the source, I will select the project item 16mm microfilm. Again, this was entered in the inventory. The 770 rolls are displayed, and now this item is presented for calculation within the SalesManager pricing area. Next, we can select new rolls for duplication. Again, I will select the service type 16mm master negative silver. The film size is still 16mm. But for this source, since we are creating new rolls, the source will be the ADF scan type 1 item. You see the 1,950,000 images presented for creation to rolls, and these rolls will be duplicated. So you have 325 rolls for duplication. And as previous, this item is presented for pricing within the SalesManager pricing area. Now, let's go to 6B, Supplies. The Supplies section is broken down into 5 major areas: logistics, warehouse services, and barcode sheet creation and barcode label creation, and finally, storage and mailing supplies. Let's first look at logistics. This area, as described, allows you to cost out and price your various delivery, project travel, and shipping fees. For example, let's say you have an on-site document conversion project and you need to account for your project team travel costs. Round trip, the distance is roughly 1,700 miles. We'd simply select this travel service, which is our on-site project per mile, and enter the number of miles. And your appropriate SKU is displayed. Based on your business's logistics pricing structure, SalesManager will identify the appropriate SLA or service level agreement for the volume of miles and present that SKU. To review, A SKU, or stock keeping unit, is a unique identifier for each distinct product and service that can be purchased in business. This same form follows throughout the logistics and warehouse services areas. We have existing options for source document shipping fees. If you price and bill by on-site team configuration, we can account for this as well. Back to our on-site project example, let's say for the on-site team, you will have 3 FTEs or full-time equivalents there for 15 days each. So I will select my per day per FTE selection. 3 FTEs at 15 days each is 45 days. Again, the appropriate SKU, accounting for the appropriate cost of goods, is displayed and presented for calculation in the pricing area. Let's say, however, after your production manager's review, the on-site duration is up to 18 days each. Well, this now would be 54 days total. The updated cost of goods level is displayed as the new SKU, now with accurate pricing. We talked in an earlier video about pricing for document pull fees, and this is where those fees would be priced. Again, all of these options will be customized to reflect your business services. Now for barcode sheet and barcode label creation. If you need to add barcode separator sheets to a project, this is where that would be done. You would select the required service, which is our letter-sized barcode sheets. By default, SalesManager has options for letter-sized separator pages only. Here the number of source images is calculated by the PPR, or pages per record, as entered during the inventory. So when I select the source, which will be the ADF Type 1 scanning, the appropriate SKU is presented. So my 1,950,000 images divided by the entered number of pages per record will account for and calculate out our required number of document separator sheets. And finally, this is where you would select the required storage, mailing, and shipping supplies. Again, everything is SKU based. This would all be determined during your initial SalesManager setup. 6C and 6D are areas primarily to add supplemental professional services. If you need to price hardware or system wellness programs and the like, that can be done here. Also, you can discuss to enter details for business process and business systems analysis services here. This concludes Part 6 for the Introduction to SalesManager. Please see Part 7 for Sales Step 7, dealing with project pricing activities. SalesManager is best included into a business management solution that includes Memoran for automated proposals and Be Productive systems for FDA and DoD compliant hosted conversion production management tools. And I thank you for your time.